Welcome to the Airgun Show. We've got a real night vision theme this week. I'm going to be sharing some hints and tips to help you get the most from the ATN X Sight II HD, but before that, I'm out after rabbits with the Nite Site R-TEK. Right, we're back out after rabbits this evening, and it's the pony paddock permission where I've been doing a lot of shooting this year. And now, as a result, the rabbits are getting very cagey. There aren't many left either, so it is a bit of a mop-up job, and they're not showing themselves much by daylight. So we're going to wait until it gets dark and target them with night vision gear. The unit I'm going to be using is the Nite Site, and for those of you who don't have one, I'll just run through what it entails and how it works. Now, the great thing about this setup is it just clamps directly onto your day scope, so you don't need to re-zero. All of your aim points remain exactly the same. Now, it clamps onto the scope by means of a bracket, and that's the unit that entails the front illuminator, so that provides the illumination that the night vision needs to see, and the same module has the screen which you see the image through. Your crosshairs appear there. Working further back, you've got the battery module, and that then plugs into the camera, which mounts via a rubber sleeve to see down through the scope. Now, this is the R-TEK version, which is a very clever setup. It's got one-touch recording direct to a micro SD card, so all being well, you'll be able to see some of the through-the-scope action this evening. Another nice thing with the R-TEK setup is it's got a very fast focus setup on the exterior, so you can quickly get your crosshairs nice and sharp on the screen. Now, I've got a Viper and a Wolf setup. I use the Viper a lot for ratting. It's got slightly less seeing distance. Tonight I've got the Wolf, which has a much greater detection range, and that'll be good for spotting rabbits, all being well, at further distance, and then we'll stalk in a bit closer for the shots. And the gun I'm using is my trusty old FAC rated Daystate Mark IV. Now, I'm using FAC power not because I want to shoot out to silly ranges, but just because it shoots a little bit flatter. And when you're judging range, when you're presented with the flat image of a night vision image, it can be a bit hit and miss, might be out by a few yards. The flat trajectory of the FAC rated gun is just a little bit more forgiving. The only snag with this is that I use it in single shot mode because I find it a little bit more accurate, but more importantly, it enables me to mount the scope very low down to the barrel. The scope is so low, in fact, that I couldn't put the magazine in here if I wanted to. So that is going to make loading a bit of a fiddle, but I've been using this gun for years and years, and it is quite a straightforward knack for me now. And also, I've got it mounted up with a bipod. The grass here, because of the grazing, it's relatively low, so when I get shots, I'm planning to get down on my belly and use the bipod just to keep them absolutely rock steady. So that's the plan and the kit I'm going to be using. I'm just going to hang on now until it gets properly dark and give those rabbits a bit of time to venture out. Right, well, night's closed in, so we're going to get cracking now. The plan is to hunt on the move. I'm just going to stalk around the fields, switching on occasionally for a bit of a shine round. If we pick up on any rabbits, I'll then stalk in if I need to and get the shot. Now, typically, as is often the case when we come out with the video camera, it's not a puff of wind tonight, dead still, dead quiet. So we're just going to have to try and move as quietly as we possibly can. After switching on, I scan ahead through the night sight, looking for the telltale shine back from a rabbit's eyes. It looks like a blank, but this is only the first field. Nothing out there yet. It's such a quiet night that I can literally hear the wet grass squeaking under my boots, and I fear that the rabbits probably can too. Right, there's one out just off the hedge. I could just do with getting a little bit closer to make sure. This is more encouraging, but I want to get closer to avoid taking a risky shot. We just need the rabbit to stay put. The rabbit is still out feeding, so I settle myself down for a shot from the prone position. It looked and sounded like a solid hit, but the rabbit ran on a few feet before rolling over, so I want to get in swiftly to make sure it was a clean kill. And it is. Right, I wanted to dash in pretty quickly for that one, because it did dash on a little bit after it was hit, but it sounded like it was hit very hard, and it flopped over literally a few seconds later, but I wanted to make sure it was cleanly killed. Now, looking at it, I actually struck it just below the eye. I really wanted to hit it above the eye. Now, again, range estimation, I thought it was about 45 metres. It's about what this gun zeroed for, so I aimed straight at where I wanted the pellet to hit. It must have been a little bit further away than that, so the pellet did hit a little bit low. Fortunately, and probably again, thanks to the extra grunt of the FAC power, it is a clean kill. We've got our rabbit, and also, I was worried about having to reload the single shot tray in the dark. I actually managed to do it while I was dashing over here without even thinking about it, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's get this one drained. We'll just empty its bladder so the meat can't become tainted. There's a bit in there. And we'll bag it up. And we'll get on. Apart from picking up, it's just about light enough for me to see what I'm doing moving around the farm, so I don't want to be messing about with the torch any more than I need to. Let's see if we can get some more. Another scan reveals another rabbit out in the field ahead. Again, I decide to creep in a few steps closer to close down the range before settling down for the shot. The rabbit holds its position, and I soon have it in my crosshairs on the screen of the Nite Site. That's much more what we want them to drop like. Again, I estimated that about 45 metres. Seems to have dropped very cleanly. Nice clean kill, just what we want. Good thing also is I've just noticed, as I was stalking up the hill then, the breeze does seem to have picked up just a little bit, and that will hopefully just help to mask our sounds a bit more. Right, let's get that one picked up. As great as night vision is, it's not so handy when you need light for close-up tasks. So it's always worth taking along a torch, even on a relatively light night like this. It should come in very useful for jobs like picking up and prepping shot rabbits. In my case, the extra light source is also handy for reloading that single shot tray. Though I've been doing it for so many years, I could probably do it with my eyes closed. And it's back into the night to see what we can find.
Right, you can buy very good infrared spotters and binoculars for scanning the fields up ahead, but it's another thing to carry. So what I tend to do most of the time is just switch on, wind the scope magnification right down to get a slightly wider field of view, and then just look through the Nite Sight screen, looking through my scope to check out the fields ahead. And actually, there's some eye shine there. There is a rabbit out, way too far away to think about taking the shot. It's well over 100 metres away, I should say. So what I'm going to do is switch off, stop talking, and try and get a bit closer.
It's at times like this that the background noise created by a stiff breeze would come in very handy to help conceal the sound of my approach. Although the wind has picked up a little since we arrived, it's nowhere near enough with all the noise we're making.
And it's bleeding well gone. I think even with this bit of breeze now, we're just making a bit too much noise. Never mind. I've just switched on for a shine around. As you can probably see, there's a badger out. And unlike the rabbits, it couldn't care less about us being here. Now, to be honest, it is absolutely crawling with badgers around here, to the point that some nights we're literally tripping over them. Let's see if we can find some rabbits.
I eventually pick up something else with the Nite Sight, and this time it's what we're after. Once again, it's down to the prone position for a steady shot, and I really need the stability of the bipod this time because this is a longer one.
Now that is how you want them to drop. I decided not to try and stalk him much closer with that one. It was a bit of a further shot, about 60 metres, so I gave it a bit of holdover. Now it's about as far as I want to push the range, even with this gun and the fact it's fairly windless down in this gully. I don't want to take chancy shots, and it looked like I got that one dead right. It really was lights out. Let's go get it. That looks like a cracking shot. Caught it right in the eye. Hasn't come out the other side, but it's really bulged. Maybe it has. And if it did, it's really bulged that other eye anyway. Heck of an impact. Killed that one stone dead. Great shot. That's the way you want them to go. Now, we're doing far too much talking to do a serious job here tonight. So what I'm going to do, we're going to wrap up the video. I'm going to send Nikki packing so I can hopefully do a couple of hours of serious shooting and make a bit more of a dent in the numbers of rabbits here.
And I'm pleased to say I managed to bag a few more after being left to my own devices. And now, it's the Airgun Show news.
This is the Airgun Show news. It's Ton Up for Airgun Shooter magazine. The award-winning Airgun mag celebrates its 100th issue, which is on sale now. Inside the special Century edition, you'll find a comprehensive guide to what every major company in the airgun industry has got up to since Airgun Shooter launched in 2010. Plus, there's 100 top tips on how to achieve shooting success, a guide to the joys of plinking, and a squirrel control mission with Matt Manning. Get Airgun Shooter in good newsagents now. Airgun Shooter has also confirmed that it will exhibit at the Midland Game Fair in 2 weekends' time. At the Airgun Shooter stand, you'll be able to meet the team behind your favourite magazine and take advantage of competitions and unbeatable subscription offers. The Midland Game Fair comes to Weston Park on the 16th and 17th of this month. Get your tickets now from midlandgamefair.com. A widespread review of shooting on national land in Wales is underway. Natural Resources Wales is asking for views on whether the use of guns is appropriate on the land it manages. The Countryside Alliance says it has discovered that a similar review only concluded recently, and that review found that increasing the shooting opportunities on NRW's land could earn it an extra £500,000 a year. You'll be able to give your views when a public consultation opens in the autumn. And finally, are you the fastest shooter you know? Literally? Check out the new website for Target Sprint, the high-octane discipline that combines running with 10-metre airgun shooting. On the site you'll find info on how to get into the sport, where events are taking place near you, and contact details for coaches. Plus, you can follow Target Sprint's social media channels and shop for branded merch. Check it out now at targetsprint.com. That was the Airgun Show news.
I've been using the ATN X Sight II HD a heck of a lot over the last year, so I thought it was probably about time that I'd check in, let you know how I've been getting on with it, and also hopefully share a few tips that'll help you to get the very best from yours. I've actually been very impressed with this unit, but there are certainly a few tweaks that you can use to enhance its performance considerably, and one of those is fitting it with a decent illuminator. Ideally, you want a powerful IR illuminator that will give you a long detection range so you can spot quarry at distance in the dark. You also want an illuminator with adjustable power so you can wind it down for close range work like ratting. Turning down the power prevents the image from becoming over illuminated and also helps to stretch the battery life of your illuminator. Connecting the X Sight II to your scope rails can initially be a bit of a snag for airgun shooters. The standard mount on the X Sight is Picatinny style, but most UK airguns have dovetail scope rails. Fortunately, there are several adapters available to make it fit. The ATN branded quick release mount is not one of the cheaper options, but if you can afford it, I'd certainly say it's one of the best. Apart from offering an extremely secure attachment and that very handy quick release feature, it also extends backwards, which is essential to ensure that the scope comes right back to your eye when attaching via the rails of many airguns. Another, more affordable extra that makes a huge difference to the X Sight is an external power pack. This unit really munches through batteries, especially when you're using advanced features and the Wi-Fi. I found myself changing them at an alarming rate before I moved over to an external power source. The ATN Power Weapon Kit is a rechargeable external power source that costs £99 and massively extends the runtime of the X Sight. I've not managed to run this one right down during a session yet. It also comes with a very handy pack that attaches to the stock of the gun to keep it in place and out of the way. When using the X Sight, my advice is to try to use a single magnification setting, as this helps with estimating range to target and using the correct aim points. Don't wind it up too high because the digital zoom could pixelate the image at higher magnification. I tend to stick with around 10 times magnification for most of my hunting. One time I will wind the magnification right down is when scanning for quarry in the dark. A lower magnification gives you a wider field of view and a deeper depth of field, which really helps when you're scanning ground ahead of you. It's never going to be quite as good as using a dedicated spotter, but it'll help to save you money and it's less to carry. A lot of shooters struggle with range finding in the dark because of the one-dimensional image produced by night vision units. The best way around that is to shoot from a static position. Whether you're targeting rats over bait spots or picking off rabbits as they emerge from a busy warren, You can easily predetermine how far away they are by pacing out the distance to your shooting position before you dig in. Remember to take full advantage of the fast focusing wheel on top of the scope, especially when you're recording video footage through the X Sight. I often used to wonder why an image looked a little bit blurry, only to realise that the target was probably a little bit further away or a little bit closer than the last one. A touch of adjustment with that fast focusing wheel should quickly snap it back into focus. Finally, don't underestimate just how good this scope is by day. It's a great night vision unit, but it also produces a decent image in daylight as long as you remember to minimalise pixelation by avoiding very high magnification. It's never going to look quite as sharp as high-end glassware, but this scope does give you the added advantage of being able to record the action. So, that's some of the add-ons and ruses I use to get the most from my ATN X Sight II HD. Some shooters are still put off by this kind of technology, but this setup is very simple to use and an absolute cinch to zero. Steer clear of the more advanced and somewhat unnecessary features, and it should make a very simple and effective addition to your airgun shooting.
Look out for the new and improved Airgun Shooter magazine, packed full of technique, gear and insight from some of the best shooters in the industry. Brand new look and free video content. Pick up your copy today in stores or online.
That's all for this week, but we'll be back again in a fortnight. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And if you aren't already a member of the BASC, it's time you joined the organisation that works to promote and protect your sport.